Hare Krishna Prabhu. Vanamali Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Prabhu, we can't hear you, Prabhu. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was on mute.
Hare Krishna, Danut Pranam. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu, you're very much audible. It was fallen from myself. I'm sorry for that. Yeah. Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Nityam Bhakti Sevaya. Today we have the privilege of having His Grace Vanamali Govinda Prabhu. We'll be actually continuing with Canto 5, Chapter 1. And today we'll be covering, today Prabhu will be covering verses 8 to 10. Prabhu, over to you.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama O Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. I seek the blessings of all the assembled devotees so that I can speak on this elevated subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sankarshan Priya Prabhu, Radharani Mataji, Ravi Lochan Prabhu, Saraswati Mataji, and Sunil Prabhu assembled already, and some of them online also, YouTube. So, this is a chapter on the activities of Maharaj Priyavrata, 5th canto, 1st chapter, shloka number 8 to 10. It is a prose verse, so we will not be able to sing in the particular tune, as if at least I do not know. So I'll just read it out as it is, all the 3 verses with the purport in the 10th. And then in the 10th purport, Srila Prabhupada has given some vital points for us to contemplate and churn and apply for our practice and elevation. So I will let you know once I complete the purport reading that what is the theme which we will try to discuss on today, Bhagavatam discussion. Satatra Tatra. So I think we are aware the scene in the last chapters that Priyavratam is doing tapasya in the Gandhamadana mountains, with Narada Muni trying to preach him to continue the devotional service and not to take up Grihastha ashram. However, now Lord Brahma is going to come, requesting him to take up the charge of the kingdom of the whole entire world and universe. So we'll see what Prabhupada mentions. Satatra tatra gaganatala udupatir iva vimanavaliphir anupatham amara parivriddhair abhipujyamanaha pathi pathi cha varuthashah siddha gandharva sadhya charana muniganair upagiyamano gandhamadana drunim avabhasayan upasarpa. As Lord Brahma descended on his career, the great swan, all the residents of the planets named Siddhaloka, Gandharva Loka, Sadhya Loka, and Charana Loka, as well as great sages and demigods flying in their different airplanes, assembled within the canopy of the sky to receive Lord Brahma and worship him. As he received respect and adoration from the residents of the various planets, Lord Brahma appeared just like the full moon, surrounded by illuminating stars. Lord Brahma's great swan then arrived at the border of Gandhamadana hill and approached Prince Priyavrata, who was sitting there. It appears from this description that there is a regular interplanetary travel between the planets of the demigods. Another significant point is that there is a planet covered mostly by great mountains, one of which is Gandhamadana hill. Three great personalities, Priyavrata, Narada, and Swayambhuva Manu, were sitting on his hill. According to Brahma Samhita, each universe is filled with different planetary systems, and every system has a unique opulence. For example, on Siddhaloka, all the residents are very advanced in the powers of mystic yoga. They can fly from one planet to another without airplanes or other flying machines. Similarly, the residents of Gandharva Loka are expert in musical science, and those on the Sadhya Loka are all great saints. The interplanetary system undoubtedly exists, and residents of different planets may go from one to another. On this earth, however, we have not invented any machine that can go directly from one planet to another, although an unsuccessful attempt has been made to go directly to the moon. So this becomes a very relevant purport in the current scenario when Chandrayaan has just recently been launched by India to the moon. So before going ahead, I would just like to take a few points of discussion on the 8th verse purport, and then we'll go ahead with the 9th and 10th. So yeah, I'm sure you might have been many discussions regarding the Chandrayaan, whether really they went on the moon, whether Prabhupada is right, or is it possible or not. I just wanted to hear from one of you, in case you want to share your thoughts, that what are your thoughts about Chandrayaan, and what discussion you might have taken in your spiritual circle. And then I will add some few comments. Anybody would like to share? Online? You can send a chat or unmute yourself. They are allowed to unmute, no? Sankar Shandriya.
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna.
they can unmute.
Okay, no thoughts on Chandrayaan? Maybe you have not discussed or come across. You are
I
fully...
have actually unmuted all the lines, so devotees can speak up.
Okay, now I think they can speak. Okay, seems like nobody has contemplated or come across this discussion of Chandrayaan. Fine. So I'm sure all of you will be having firm faith in Srila Prabhupada's words in the Bhagavatam that man cannot actually go to moon. However, there are many understandings given by different senior devotees on this topic, that how we can see it, especially in the current scenarios. It is not that they would have not literally gone to moon, and Prabhupada is wrong, that proved wrong, because now it has been proved that he has India or the modern science has reached moon. Prabhupada is still right only, because even though reaching moon, what they have done is nothing great. Finally, they have collected some stones or rock or sand particles. They are not able to send a person, number one. They are only sending a machine. And that also, Srila Prabhupada in his lectures has mentioned that they might not be going to moon, because 1971 Neil Armstrong, when that moon landing thing had come, Prabhupada was quite sure, based on the scriptures, that there is a Rahu planet, which is very black and very dark, and which is very near to the moon, and most probably they would have been going there. That is one of the understandings of Srila Prabhupada. And he also mentioned, in case even if they have gone, the residents of the moon planet, they are very, very intelligent. They are telling that, oh, these people have come here without immigration, without any visa, passport. Send them to deserted area of the moon, so they will not be able to access the heavenly aspect of the moon. Whoever comes in the form of Chandrayaan or whichever space satellite, they will be deflected, because they are much more intelligent, the moon heavenly living beings. So this is Prabhupada stands still true even after Chandrayaan 3, that even though they have gone, they will not be able to make much of it, and they will be never successful in the same body. And there have been failures, there have been cheatings also. Some Canada people were reportedly sending them, but it was proved to be a fake. Russia believed that they will be able to send, but they believed their failure also, honestly. And finally, even if India has sent, but what exactly they are able to do. So in this context, we have to understand. So literally, we should have a very nice, mature discussion with the outside world when we come across. When if somebody is asking that, how can Prabhupada tell? So we can tell that, yes, in essence, what Prabhupada is meaning here is correct, that even if we go, we will not be able to do much. And that is why the first book written by Srila Prabhupada was Easy Journey to Other Planets. So the interplanetary travel was very possible in the, as we see in the Bhagavatam, between the demigods. And that is how they have qualified beings, the qualified body to travel. Otherwise, it becomes a demoniac mentality. One place Prabhupada tells, it's a Ravana mentality, who was planning to create a ladder to moon, but not allowing people in general to follow the Vedic principles. So yes, this is what we are against, the science. Otherwise, science is good till the time it helps a person to become faithful. And that is what the ISRO chairman also prayed to Balaji before sending the satellite, with the Chandrayaan. So somewhere or other, even they understand the presence of the Lord, the devotional aspect, even though they may be successful, so-called successful. And one devotee shared that when the Jivatma is very, very stubborn in his material approach, in his material endeavors, sometimes Krishna may sanction it because of the stern nature. That is why he has allowed us to come in this material world also. So this was in brief about the 8th purport. Now going to the 9th one. Any doubts in this regard before we, because the second part is quite different. So far, any question, any comments before we go ahead? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I've also heard that the moon planet is quite illuminated, not like what we see here as so dark. So is that also a right understanding?
Yes, that is what I understood from Srila Prabhupada's lecture. Moon is seen illuminated. There are some dark spots which are, according to the astronauts, they are the hills. But what Srila Prabhupada tells that because the scientists who have sent Chandrayaan or whatever, they are not able to send that illuminated structure as what you rightly brought out, that the pictures which are they are sending, even current pictures, I saw some of them, they're very dark, they're like, and the place is very deserted. So Prabhupada is very confident from the scriptures that moon is a heavenly structure. There are beautiful ponds, beautiful establishments and beings, heavenly creatures. But because there may be a deserted part also where these people are being diverted. So a moon is literally illuminated and it is not the same as we are seeing the pictures. Was that the question? Ravi?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So this is my understanding. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, Hare Krishna. We'll go ahead. 9th
Krishna
shloka.
Prabhu.
So, yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, in Bhagavatam, we heard moon is farther away than sun.
Yes.
No, Prabhu.
Exactly.
So maybe it's a different moon, and what they have gone is another different moon.
There are two understandings of a farther moon, which Prabhupada tells is farther in the sense physical distance may not be far compared to sun, but it is on the third dimension where we cannot see or where we cannot approach. So the sun may be physically more far compared to the moon, but what scriptures, based on scriptures, Prabhupada tells that although moon may not be physically distance-wise far, we are able to see with our gross eyes, but we cannot approach it with the same body in this earthly body, and that is how it becomes far. So that is one understanding of far. And regarding the distance, yes, even I have heard that the moon is far as mentioned in scriptures. But now which understanding to take, whether it is physically distance-wise far, or because we cannot go in this body, it becomes far. This is how we understand. I'm not sure about that. If anybody has this understanding, you can just share your thought. But in any ways, we cannot approach it, whether it is distance-wise far, and whether it is another moon altogether. We have to see, because modern science tells that each planet have many moons, like Jupiter has 16 moons according to the modern astrology, scientific astrology. I don't know whether what scriptures tell about that. If anybody has any idea about this, others can also add.
One another point, what I really observed is, like human beings who are living in this earthly planet, their body is predominantly made of earth element, whereas in the other planetary system, that may not be the case. Their body may not be made of earthly planet, earth actually, earth element, maybe either or other element. And that's the reason, although they call it the temperature is very high or low, all those things are there, but we are not fit for living there, because
absolutely.
So that's another point, probably.
Yes, 100%. So that is why this is not the way we should approach the whole idea. Spending so much crores of money for going against the Vedic injunctions, it's what makes this scientific approach atheistic. That means they go and pray to Balaji, but they don't follow the instructions of Balaji. So that is where the problem comes. Especially in India, this is the scenario. People are so-called religious, pious, but only superficially and ritualistically, not with the essence and following the scriptures. So what to speak of the Western world? They are highly far from the Vedic culture. So in this way, but at the same time, we should be very sensitive in our approach and not outrightly portray modern science to be very atheistic and such harsh words, because we have to responsibly present ISKCON because currently the whole India is proud about this achievement, and if we directly attack on that, it may be hurting to their feelings and sentiments. But yeah, at least for our devotee community, we should be very convinced from within. And when we hear Prabhupada's lectures and things, because the same thing exactly happened in 1971, and Prabhupada was very clear about it. So actually his faith is very strong on the scriptural knowledge. It's only time when things will be revealed, if possibly Krishna willing, that what is the truth. Okay, so I think we did sufficient justice on that discussion. We can go ahead now with ninth shloka. Tatraha va enam devarshirhamsa yanena pitaram bhagavantam hiranya garbham upala bhamanaha sahasaivot hayarhanena sahapita putrabhyam avihitanjalir upatasthaye. Lord Brahma, the father of Narad Muni, is the supreme person within this universe. As soon as Narada saw the great swan, he could understand that Lord Brahma had arrived. Therefore, he immediately stood up along with Swayambhuva Manu and his son Priyavrata, whom Narada was instructing. Then they folded their hands and began to worship Lord Brahma with great respect. Purport: as stated in the previous verse, Lord Brahma was accompanied by other demigods, but his specific carrier was the great swan. Therefore, as soon as Narad Muni saw the swan, he could understand that his father, Lord Brahma, who is also known as Hiranyagarbha, was arriving. Thus, he immediately stood up with Swayambhuva Manu and his son Priyavrata to receive Lord Brahma and offer him respect. So Lord Brahma is also called as Hiranyagarbha. I need to check why exactly this word is being used. If anybody knows, can help us. And Narad Muni is the son of Lord Brahma. So he and Swayambhuva Manu both got up into respect. And Priyavrata Muni is the son of Swayambhuva Manu. So he is doing meditation, not wanting to join the Grahastha ashram. So let us see. Now this 10th verse is very important for practical application. Bhagavanapi bharata tad upanitarahanah shukta vakena tirtaram udita guna ganavatara sujayah priyavratam adi purushastam sadaya hasavaloka iti hovacha. My dear King Parikshit, because Lord Brahma had finally descended from Satyaloka to Bhuloka, Narad Muni, Prince Priyavrata and Swayambhuva Manu came forward to offer him objects of worship and to praise him in highly qualified language according to Vedic etiquette. At that time, Lord Brahma, the original person of this universe, felt compassion for Priyavrata and looking upon him with a smiling face, spoke to him as follows. Purport: that Lord Brahma descended from Satyaloka to see Priyavrata indicates that the matter was very serious. Narad Muni had come to advise Priyavrata about the value of spiritual life, knowledge, renunciation and bhakti. And Lord Brahma knew that Narada's instructions were very impressive. Therefore, unless Lord Brahma personally went to Gandhamadana hill to request Priyavrata, Lord Brahma knew that Prince Priyavrata would not accept his father's order. Brahma's purpose was to break Priyavrata's determination. Therefore, Brahma first looked upon Priyavrata with compassion. His smile and his compassionate features also indicated that although Brahma would request Priyavrata to accept household life, Priyavrata would not be out of touch with devotional service. By the blessings of a Vaishnava, everything is possible. So this is the theme of our today's discussion. By the blessings of a Vaishnava, everything is possible. So here the blessing of Brahma is not wanting him to get deviated. Brahma is giving his blessings. Brahma knows that it is not easy to be in household life and simultaneously to practice bhakti. So that is why Priyavrata was also very blissful in doing his meditation as a brahmachari. However, now Brahma has a concern. He has to expand the progeny and maintain, especially also, carry out the kingdom. So he wants him to be the king and populate. This is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as Kripa Siddhi, or perfection attained simply by the blessings of superior person. One usually becomes liberated and perfect by executing the regulative principles set down in the Shastras. One usually becomes liberated and perfect by executing the regulative principles set down in the Shastras. Nonetheless, many persons have achieved perfection simply by the blessings of a spiritual master or superior. Priyavrata was the grandson of Lord Brahma, and as joking competition sometimes takes place between a grandson and grandfather, in this case, also, Priyavrata was determined to remain in meditation, whereas Brahma was determined that he ruled the universe. Thus, Lord Brahma, affectionate smile and glance meant, "My dear Priyavrata, you have decided not to accept household life, but I have decided to convince you that you must accept it." Actually, Brahma had come to praise Priyavrata for his high standard of renunciation, austerity, penance, and devotion, so that he would not be deviated from devotional service, even though he would accept household life. In this verse, one important word is Shukta Vakena by the Vedic hymns. In the Vedas, there is the following prayer to Lord Brahma: Hiranya Garbha Samavarta Tagre Bhutasya Jataha Patireka Asit. Brahma was received with the appropriate Vedic hymns, and because he was welcomed according to the Vedic etiquette, he was very pleased. So, yeah. So, first point we immediately take home is that how nicely all the three, Priyavrata Muni, Swayambhu Manu, and Narad Muni received and welcomed Brahma, who is a senior. And out of etiquette, they rose out and they did Aarti. Welcome. The demigods were accompanying Brahma, the creator. So this is appropriate etiquette to welcome. Coming to the point of why Brahma wanted him to rule the universe. So this point I don't exactly remember, but what I had heard in my Bhaktivedanta classes, Bhakti Vaibhav classes, that at that particular time, Lord Brahma saw that there was crisis. There was nobody to rule the universe. And he had to depend on Priyavrata. I'm not sure, if I'm not wrong, already Narad Muni had engaged Haryashvas and Shalvasvas in full-time devotion. Char Kumaras they rejected to populate. So Daksha was also only remaining to populate. And then Swayambhuva Manu was there, who had Priyavrata and other few sons. They were also not very capable as Priyavrata. And probably this was the reason which motivated and inspired Brahma to come down to Priyavrata. Although it had been many years that Priyavrata was doing tapasya. And now, because that time the lifespan was in 1 lakh years or so, it is in a Satyuga time. So, although he had done tapasya for thousands of years, but now he wanted him to take up household life, take up the kingdom, and take up the management. And management is very difficult. As we see, even in ISKCON, the managers are sometimes really taxed. The management board, etc., because so many things they need to take care of the devotees, of the festivals, of the different aspects which comes in maintaining a temple and the whole system. So unless one is not very highly spiritually elevated or not doing well sadhana, it is very risky to enter the managerial duties. Those who feel that, oh, this is what is the word used? Very lucrative opportunity to be a manager or to be a president or a vice president of a ISKCON temple. It comes with a lot of responsibilities, and unless one's sadhana is not very strong, and if he ends up taking more managerial services, it can be a problem, because to interact with this material world, we require a lot of sattva guna, and management requires rajo, invariably touch with a lot of rajo and tamo guna also. So Priyavrata was in this mood, and Lord Brahma very well knew what he is going to ask, and he was very well determined because of the situation of not having any other option. But because Lord Brahma, who is the grandfather, the father of Priyavrata is Swayambhuva Manu, and his father is Brahma, has personally come down from Satyaloka to Bhuloka. That means the matter is very serious, and one has to now take it very seriously. So Priyavrata did not obstinately reject the plea. It will come in the further verses that he agrees. He was not obstinate or stubborn. I will not, because Brahma is after all the authority. He is ultimate authority. Even before Krishna, Lord Brahma is over there, and Swayambhuva Manu, Priyavrata, everybody is accountable to Lord Brahma and his instructions. So when we follow the instructions of authority, the blessings come down. So this is the concept. We may sometimes go through some difficult situations with our authority, but what I have learned is that even though we may be technically right, we may be correct, but at the end what we need to see is whether our authority is pleased with us or not. At least we have to make our best attempt to please him. So in this regard, I will come to that also. That how we will deal with our authority when it becomes very difficult, the situation, not the problem with authority, but sometimes that the instructions are tough, like here, how Brahma is giving a tough instruction to Priyavrata to become the king of the universe. So first of all, entering a grahastha life means taking up many responsibilities. I have no personal experience and I am not qualified to have any comments on that. But whatever I have heard from the seniors, like our Swayambhuva Manu, he was a grahastha himself. And if we see from Srimad Bhagavatam only, what kind of daily life Swayambhuva Manu was living. He used to get up with the Vaishnava songs. His alarm was a Vaishnava song. Not recorded, but literally live play. There will be nice kirtans going on, which will wake up Swayambhuva Manu. He was the king. And while going night also to bed, he will sleep with the kirtanas. So although he had a lot of management, but he made sure that he kept the atmosphere very Krishna conscious, and that helped him to go on. Same with Ambrish Maharaj. Ambrish Maharaj was a king. He had to take meetings with minister. He was a grahastha. He was a married man. But morning, he will do his spiritual duties almost till afternoon. Same with Kulashekar Alwar. He was also king. Very Krishna conscious atmosphere they used to maintain. And excuse me. So once the managerial duties were done, they were very much taking care of being absorbed in the spiritual sound vibration. So that kept them going. So Raj Rishi, that is why the word Krishna used in 4th chapter 2nd shloka, Evam Parampara Praptam Raj Rishayo Viduhu. The kings were like guided by the rishis. So that kept them going. So there may be many distractions. So first of all, we need to have a very good backup. Those who are entering Grihastha Ashram, they should have a good brahmachari training. Unless the sadhana is not strong, it will be very difficult to keep up after entering. And while in the ashram also, jedine bhajan grihete bhajan dekhi grihete golok bhai. Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings in one of the Vaishnava songs that my house is as good as Goloka when I see kirtana happening, bhajana happening. So the house is as good as Golok Vrindavan when the atmosphere and devotees, house members coming together and doing kirtana, worshipping. And the second point is that this is our own endeavor of keeping the house and our atmosphere Krishna conscious. Same applies for the brahmachari ashram also, probably even more, whether it is etiquettes or the sound vibration. It is said by one of our seniors that a brahmachari should be haunted by sound vibration and hunting for services. So haunted means he should be completely, while taking prasad or while walking, he should never keep his ear holes aloof. I mean, not literally, but as much as possible, no breaks. And in fact, recently I heard His Grace Sundar Shampoo had come to hear Suratkal. Then one of the letters Prabhupada writes that the moment we get a break, we should be keeping reading the books. So constantly, the essence is we have to make ourselves trained to constantly absorb in the Krishna Katha. So this will give us a lot of Sattva Guna to fight the managerial things which we are going through in our household life also. So it comes by practice and by following the instructions of a Vaishnava. Prabhupada made a point in the 10th purport that one is generally perfecting the life, gets liberated if he follows the instructions of the scriptures. However, another way is that if he has got a blessings of a Vaishnava, in case he doesn't know also the scriptures, he's not well versed, but if he has got the blessings of a Vaishnava, so it is not the blessing which a normal Indian person, pious person may be looking for. Swamiji, kripa de dijiye, aapka ashirwad de dijiye. You might be aware that once Srila Prabhupada was met with such a person, and then Prabhupada gave ashirwad. Kaun sa ashirwad chahiye? Mera ashirwad hai ki aap inke jaise ban jao. And there were 7 headed disciples of Prabhupada. That fellow ran away. He did not want that kind of ashirwad. So not that kind of ashirwad which we are wanting. We want ashirwad, or we can deserve ashirwad provided we have pleased the Vaishnava by following his instructions, by following his Vani Seva. So sadhaka has to make sure that he not superficially connects with a Vaishnava, but follows the instructions, and which can be followed even if the person is in a distance from that Vaishnava. Like I always hear from His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj, whenever he visits Bangalore or whenever I happen to hear from him online, he always wants that all the devotees engage in preaching, because he loves preaching so much, whether it is Kartik month or whether it is book distribution. He loves himself. And when recently we happened to hear him in Mayapur in July 2023, and one of the devotees asked that, Maharaj, what makes you go on so dedicatedly in Krishna consciousness? What is the secret? What is so much impelling you? So he thought for a while, and then he told that his reaction was very great. He told, I'm so grateful to Srila Prabhupada. He literally went back on his asana, and he expressed his gratitude, that how much grateful he feels. In fact, Rajshambhu asked him the question also, that how you are feeling so much grateful for Prabhupada, how we can also feel. So, so the point is, by receiving the mercy of a Vaishnava, this is how we should reciprocate with the gratitude. Not just tell thank you, but tell thank you by reciprocating with the services. So when we feel the gratitude, when we feel that how much Prabhupada has given us, the senior devotees have given us, then naturally we will be able to propel ourselves to follow the instructions, and that is the means to get their mercy. Even now we can get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada by following his instructions. But sometimes there is confusion. Many of us are senior devotees. We know that we need to follow the instructions of a Vaishnava, and his blessings are all in all. But sometimes we feel that, oh, instructions and seva are more. What about my sadhana? What about my purification? Unless I don't do. So there is a tug of war. Sadhana is on one side and seva is on the other side. Unless we don't do seva, we cannot get the blessings of Vaishnava. And unless we don't do our sadhana, we are not qualified to do seva. We are not feeling blissful. Then what to do? Yes, this is an eternal tug of war. Never feel that this tug of war, this imbalance will end one day and I will be relaxing on an easy chair, that I have mastered the balance, art of balance. No. Because we are in the material world, we are affected by the three modes. This imbalance between sadhana and seva will go on even till the stage of sannyasi, it is said. Obviously, their level of imbalance is different to the level of our imbalance. But the point is that this goes on. There won't be a time where it will be perfect. So how to manage, how to approach this imbalance? When you have a confusion that whether I should give importance at a given time to my sadhana or the seva, we have to check with the Vaishnava that what he wants us to do, especially our counselor who knows us or our authority who knows us, one of them. Because even our spiritual master or even our president, they will be pleased if we are satisfying our immediate authorities and our counselors. So we need to check with them, Prabhu, this is my condition. I am not able to do my sadhana and this seva is also there. If I don't do, I will not please the Vaishnava. What is your advice? So because he knows us, he knows our psychophysical condition, he may give us appropriate instruction rather than we taking instruction for our own self. Sometimes senior devotees tell, you decide what you want to do. Wow, this is another problem. Don't think that this is a signal and a green signal and a license for doing whatever you want. अरे मेरे authority ने मुझे बोल दिया, जो आप decide करो, आपको क्या कितना सेवा क्या साधना. Probably why they are telling, because they are afraid. इसको कुछ ज्यादा सेवा दिया तो भाग जाएगा, इसको खराब लग जाएगा, he will feel bad. So it is not necessary that when they tell to us to decide that they are very happy and they feel we are mature. No, not always. Sometimes they are telling like this because they are afraid that we may get bogged up. The ideal way to get mercy from a Vaishnava is to ask him. So here, there is also a tug of war between Brahma and Priyavrata. Priyavrata apparently is determined to continue meditation and Brahma is apparently determined to take service of kingship from Priyavrata. So finally Priyavrata gives in. So this is an example in Bhagavatam for us to learn that the Vaishnava's desire is the preeminent thing. Yes, in one of the lectures of my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, I heard that one should be so sincere in executing the instructions of a spiritual master that apparently he may get disturbed in his sadhana and feel low. But to that risk also, he endeavors to fulfill. And no genuine authority, no genuine devotee will see a devotee falling down at the cost of following his instructions. If he's a genuine authority, he will help us. But Prabhu, what to do? Sometimes authorities are very difficult to handle. And I get this doubt that is he a proper authority? Then what to do? Yes, in such situation, when you repeatedly feel that the authority is exploiting, then we have a great hierarchy. There are TMC members above the authorities. There is president above the TMC members. There are Shiksha Gurus, Diksha Gurus above the president. We have a full hierarchy available where we can approach. But generally, this may not be the case unless they are not trained and well won the trust. They will not be appointed as the authority. So we have to try our best to please. The bottom line is that unless we have not pleased our authority, the chance of progress is very minimal. So never displease. Now, in some situation, it may not be so simple as we are describing here. It may be quite complex. So at least bottom line should be, don't displease the authority, don't offend the authority. You may not be able to please him. One very nice example I heard from His Grace Radhesham Prabhu when I asked him this doubt, that can we always please authority? Is it possible to please authority 100% of the times? What is the approach at that time? Because sometimes we may get bogged up, oh, I could not please my authority, I'm a fallen soul. No, you have to try your best. He gave an example of a vehicle department, that a vehicle department in charge was requested by one of the devotees that I want a vehicle at 5:15 p.m. today in the evening. The morning the request was sent, maybe around 10-11 o'clock. So the vehicle department in charge told, dear Prabhu, there are no vehicles at 5:15 p.m. However, one vehicle is supposed to reach at 5:30 p.m. wherever it has gone from. And if you are okay at 5:30, I will like to arrange that for you. But the devotee who was requesting was very firm that I have to reach the railway station by 6 and I want to start by 5:15. So now the vehicle department in charge. So apparently in this example, the person who is requesting is the authority and vehicle department in charge is a subordinate. So now let us see how this subordinate vehicle department in charge behaves. So he called up the person who went that 5:30 p.m. wala vehicle and asked him, Prabhu, can you reach 5:15 because there is a request for a vehicle? So that devotee, vehicle devotee told, I may not be able to reach at 5:15, but I will try to reach a little more early, maybe 5:25 or 5:20. Okay, so then this devotee again told that 5:20 is what he's telling, but this devotee started at 5:15 and the vehicle came at 5:22 or so. And this vehicle department person took the vehicle and somehow tried to catch up the person who had already left somehow, I don't know, by walking or by somehow lift or something, and tried to offer the help, the service of giving the vehicle at 5:30, and finally the vehicle dropped him to the station before 6. So here we can see that ideally the subordinate, the vehicle department in charge, could not fulfill the desire and instruction, whatever we take it in the form of instruction here, of that demand, but he tried his best. 100% effort he put. That is what we can understand. Hope this example is clear and not confusing you. We'll take some doubts at the end. So the point is we have to try our best, our 100%, keeping our sadhana, our physical health all intact, because that is required to please our authority to the bare minimum at least. And there are times where we will have to extend. So why all this, and the pain which comes while extending can be withstood in case we know this concept that by getting the mercy we will be able to advance. So this extent we can try to go. And time and again in our scriptures we have seen that by pleasing the Vaishnavas, by cooperating with them is the way to advance. Whether it is Prachetas who did tapasya for 10,000 years. Lord Vishnu was not happy with the tapasya which they underwent underwater. But the moment he came, he appreciated their cooperation, that although you 10 were there together, but you did not fight amongst yourselves. So I appreciate that. That means cooperation is a bigger austerity than tapasya in itself. So cooperation amongst the devotees is so important. What to speak about cooperation with our authority? We may feel, and authorities may not be pure devotees, they may have inherent faults, but we need to cooperate with them. Because they are taking higher responsibilities. They have taken one step higher than us, and that is why they are in that position. So we should not externally judge our authorities, and that is one thing when we end up in problems. When we think our authority should be a pure devotee, he should be exemplary devotee, and our expectations increase, then over a period of time slowly problems also start. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur never thought Gaur Kishore Das Babaji is a less learned person than me. He saw the purity. So our mechanical attitude or material outlook should change towards our authorities. That will help us to serve their instructions much more better. And even how to handle when tough instructions are coming. So that's what I told. Don't tell no, first of all. Let's say an apparent tough instruction has come. Immediately don't end up saying that no, I cannot do this. Rather than that, we can see what are the best possible options, whether we can get help of somebody else or we can delegate it to somebody else. And or if nothing is happening, then go to the same authority and ask, Prabhu, these are the difficulties I'm facing. How can I do? If really concerns are there, then we can express and then be detached with what final instruction comes. Jatayu was apparently a failure. So it is not only that the end result matters. The race is not in the victory is not in the race won, but in the race run, as the English saying goes. Bhishma Pitama was apparently a failure. But both were pure devotees, Jatayu also, Bhishma also. So it is not the end result which matters, but the effort which we put in pleasing our authorities, in trying to follow, is what helps. And finally, there's one shloka which I don't remember fully, but it starts like this: Yasyati bhakti bhagavat akinchana. Basically, the essence of what the verse is, that the one who has unflinching faith in his spiritual master, in his guru, for him, all the knowledge of the scriptures will be revealed. So, when it comes that who is a better person, the one who is very skillful or the one who has faith in Guru, like that of a South Indian Brahmana. So the one who has faith in Guru is much more spiritually elevated. So we need to go in that direction. So our spiritual outlook should be what? That we should not depend on our strength. We should depend on the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Depending on the mercy of Vaishnavas is a spiritual outlook. Depending on our strength is a material outlook. So our new temple is coming up by the mercy of all the Vaishnavas, by the mercy of all the senior devotees, His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and hard efforts of all the devotees. And that is how this success has come after a long period of efforts since many years. So success is guaranteed spiritually. We may not be able to judge, but when we put the right endeavors to please the authority, as Priyavrata comes out successful, and he again takes to meditation after executing all the instructions given by Lord Brahma, and he perfects, goes back home, back to Godhead. So in essence, what we discussed today is that how we can deal with the topic of Chandrayaan and landing in the moon. Secondly, we discussed about how to see the challenges one may face in the Grihastha life. And we saw the example of Swayambhu Manu Amrish Maharaj, that they kept the spiritual atmosphere and sound vibration very very accessible and very prominent, with which they could carry out the duties. And we heard about how His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj always wants us to do preaching, engage into preaching, book distribution, or Damodar Arati. So by getting and following this instruction, because preaching is not so easy, we have to, although it may be simple Damodar Arati, but we have to do a lot of arrangement, preparation, meet so much many people. So it needs us to come out of the comfort zone, out of our normal routine duties. Even it is book distribution, we have to do planning. But when we are in confusion, whether what to do, whether to give importance over sadhana or Vaishnava's instructions, authorities' instructions, ask them. And at the end, we should give the onus that whether we are able to please. Because if we are pleasing the Vaishnava, automatically the mercy comes, and not whatever anartha or lacking which would be there in our sadhana can also be covered up. Surely we should not, I'm not telling that we should go to the extent that we fall down or we become very weak in Krishna consciousness at the same. We should reveal it. and then take the guidance. And we also saw that how to handle tough instructions, or how to put our 100% effort. What is the spiritual outlook? Spiritual outlook is not to focus on our strength, but on the mercy of the Vaishnavas. So with this short, brief understanding of mine, I hope I could clearly communicate. If there are any confusions or questions or comments, we are open. Thank you for this nice opportunity to regularly come and express myself, and that thereby keep checking if any anarthas are cropping out in my heart. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vanamali Prabhu. Thank you very much for very nicely summarizing, Prabhuji. So the key learning from today's class is that strong faith in Prabhupada's book and the scriptures with respect to, whatever the scientific advancement that we are making today. Still, we have to be sensitive while we are interacting with common public, because there is a lot of emotions bound to that. But also we should have parallelly faith in the scriptures, at least, for ourselves and within our community. And the other one is that you emphasized the importance of pleasing the Vaishnavas and the spiritual authorities. While pleasing, we should understand that it's not going to be easy to have that balance of having the right balance between sadhana and seva. We should try our best. We also quoted the actual example. So more than the result, whatever endeavor and effort is more important. You beautifully quoted, in case of Garuda, it's apparently not Garuda. Apologies, it is Jatayu. Who it's apparently appears to be a failure because the result was not successful. But from the Lord's perspective, it is not the result, but how sincerely we endeavored or what was their effort, that is important. And also quoted the example of Bhishma Pitamak, who appears to be a failure, but the Lord doesn't look at the result. Actually, they look at how sincerely we endeavored. And also, we should see how sincere the new temple coming up, and how sincerely we can, put our best effort to do the service. I think it's a very nice, important point at the right time with, infinite sevas that will come up with the inauguration of the temple. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class again. And I'd like the devotees to unmute their mic and share the comments if they have any comments, questions, reflections.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Balaji Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji, why Tamaguna? Is it Tamaguna necessity in management of universe, Prabhu?
Tamoguna is not necessary. Sattva-guna is necessary, but we might have to deal with Rajoguna and sometimes Tamoguna in our execution of the services. For example, when we are doing managerial services, we have to be in passion. We have to get the things done. We are on like a taskmaster. So sometimes when the number of services are more and we are getting it in a mood of getting the service done from the subordinates, holding a festival, because we are time bound. Especially in ISKCON, things we have to be really on our marks. It is not like a Satyug time where sages are in the forest, but here it's an organization and we have to deal with new people. So the new people bring in a lot of Rajo and Tamoguna. So there are like youth preaching we do. So we don't do youth preaching to only good boys who are Sattva-guna boys. They end up watching pornography. They have a lot of illicit habits. So we also have to deal with that. We have to listen and then we have to solve. So we are interacting with Tamoguna. I'm just giving an example. Similarly, any managerial things, they will have to interact with Rajo and Tamoguna in their managerial services. So a lot of Sattva-guna is required.
Yes. Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, very wonderful lecture, Prabhu. But one more thing, Prabhu. Sometimes we feel that we want to express our deep felt gratitude to Prabhupada, Prabhu. And you said that by following the instructions, we can express our gratitude. It was so nice, Prabhu. And one more thing is, we should not depend on our personal strength, right, Prabhu?
100%, 100%.
But we should depend on the mercy of the Vaishnavas, Prabhu.
Yeah, that is a spiritual outlook, and that is pure devotion. Otherwise, if we focus on our own strength, that will be mixed devotion, because our strength we may falter, but because Krishna is very dear to Vaishnavas, he will make sure that our approach and depending on the Vaishnavas' mercy will also not fail, because Krishna loves the Vaishnavas, and that is the right approach. The really advanced soul doesn't feel him to be competent. He always feels dependent, not only Guru, not only senior Vaishnavas, but the Vaishnavas around us also, the collective Vaishnava forum. So a dependency on that is a real faith, because that will make him continue to go on the association. The moment he starts feeling like, some people become very Sanskrit scholars by reading deeply Sanskrit, and then they start offending their own gurus or the Vaishnavas, or even Srila Prabhupada also. That, oh, Prabhupada doesn't know this, probably he has translated wrongly. I think I know better than Prabhupada. So this becomes an offense. So he starts too much making himself as depends on his own strength of Sanskrit. So just an example.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. It was a wonderful lecture. That was
Thank you.
Pranam, Prabhuji.
Thank you. I like to hear from you also, Balaji Prabhu.
Hari
Hare
Hari.
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Saraswati Mataji, for your kind words and your presence and encouragement. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much
Hare
for the nice lessons, Prabhu. Though it's not only our efforts, we should have the mercy of the Guru.
Yes.
To do the, thank you very much.
Thank you, Radharani Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prem Priya Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I just want to add one comment, Prabhuji, when you said
Yes,
with
yes.
respect to the result. The Lord is not looking at the result of what we do, but also the endeavor or pleasing the Vaishnavas. So we also see in Prithu Maharaj's case that he completed 99 yajnas, and Lord was
Yes.
actually
Pleased.
very happy in not performing the 100th yajna, not with that proportion of completing the 99th yajna, because he
Yes.
just simply obliged and followed the instructions of Lord Brahma. He stopped the 100th yajna. So that behavior of following the instruction of Lord Brahma has actually pleased more than performing 99 yajnas. I think that's many
Fair.
times that may happen in our life.
Very ideal example. There is one Prerna lecture which tells the topic is when 99 is more than 100.
Very true, Prabhuji. Yeah. Mathematically, that may not be compatible, but yeah, spiritually, yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. I think we have crossed the time already.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. If there are no questions, devotees, we may end today's session with Vaishnava Pranam. Thank you, Prabhuji, once again,
Thank
for
you.
all the time accepting our service request,
Hare
adjusting
Krishna.
your schedule and priority. So you are demonstrating that principle. Thank you, Prabhuji.
My pleasure.
Pancha kalpata rubhyasya kripa sindhobhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo
Krishna
vaishnavebhyo
Vibhyo.
Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Athakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna
Jai.
devotees, we will meet again tomorrow morning at 7:15 Krishnavali. Thank you. I will end the Zoom session.